Hello and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. Consider the following statement. It is an article of significance for the indigenous people of Assam. It is generally a white rectangular piece of cloth with primarily a red border on three sides and red woven motifs on the fourth. Cotton yarn is the most common material for making or weaving. There are special occasion ones made from patch silk. The above statements best describe about Gamosa, Gurdam, Kasaya, Mundase. The answer to this is Gamosa. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in the Indian Express article. So this article on the Indian Express makes a reference to Gamosa. So all the three statements that are given as part of the question basically describes about Gamosa. So what is this Gamosa? This happens to be a cloth. This happens to be prepared either by cotton and in special occasions it is also prepared by the patch silk as well. Where is it used? It is used in the state of Assam. So remember, this happens to be a material, a rectangular piece of cloth, and this is practiced and used in the state of Assam. There are two types of gamosas. One is what is called as ukka, the other is what is called as fullam. When it comes to ukka or plain kind, it is generally used to wipe the sweat or dry the body after bathing, and fullam is decorated with floral motifs to be gifted as a memento or during the festivals, especially during the Bihu. So there are two types. One happens to be Ukka, the other happens to be Fullam. And this is also being given the GI tag as well. So remember, the Gamosa has also been accorded the GI tag basically to ensure the authenticity of this particular cloth. What is the significance of Gamosa? This happens to send a symbolic meaning that this is a cultural aspect from the state of Assam. It is traditionally offered to elders and guests as a mark of respect and honor by the Assamese. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following are the exemptions from disclosure of information under RTI? Information available to a person in his fiduciary relationship under all circumstances. Information which has been expressly forbidden to be published by any court of law or tribunal. Information which would cause a breach of privilege of parliament or the state legislature. Information received in confidence from foreign government. Which of them are exemptions from disclosure of information under RTI? The answer to this is 2, 3 and 4 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in the Indian Express article. So this article makes a reference to section 8. What is section 8? Ideally, when you have some information that you want to gather from the government, what do? You put out an application to the public information officer to get that information from the government. But what if there are information which cannot be given? What if there are exemptions? Where is it present? It is mentioned under section 8 of the RTI Act. What are the types of information which need not be given by the government and by the public information officer? Let's say for example there is an information which can be a threat to the sovereignty and integrity of the country, or it can impact the relationship with foreign countries, or it can lead to incitement of an offense. In that case, the government need not give the information. So the question is asking what is the exemption from disclosure of information under RTI where information cannot be given. So the answer is 2, 3 and 4. Why? That is because when you look into the first parameter, information available to a person in his fiduciary relationship under all circumstances. No, it is not under all circumstances. There are some exceptions as well. Let's say for example, if the competent authority is satisfied that a larger public interest warrants the disclosure, such information can be given as well. So a fiduciary relationship is a information that is given to an officer or to an authority because he possesses that authority. So he cannot just give away this information. So he can give the information in exceptional circumstances, and it is not under all circumstances. So the first statement is wrong. When you look into the second statement, information which has been expressly forbidden to be published by any court of law or tribunal, yes, if that particular information is barred by the court of law, that should not be given out in the public. Information which would cause a breach of privilege of parliament or the state legislature, yes, this information can also not be given. And information received in confidence from foreign government can also not be given. So they are the exemptions from disclosure of information under RTI. And at the same time, let's say for example, we have the cabinet papers including record of deliberations of council of ministers, secretaries and other officers. These need not be given. Information which would impede the process of investigation or apprehension or prosecution of the offenders, these need not be given. So there are some exemptions that are given, and this is present as part of section 8 of the RTI Act. Now let's look into the next practice question. With respect to Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act, which of the following statements are correct? Ancient monument means any structure, erection or monument or any tumulus or place of interment or any cave, rock sculpture, inscription or monolith which is of historical, archaeological and artistic interest and which has been in existence for not less than 500 years. Currently, construction up to 100 meters around protected monuments is prohibited. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 2 only. Why? The first statement is wrong. That is because it is not less than 500 years is a wrong statement. It is not less than 100 years. So if there is a historical structure which is not less than 100 years, that will fall under the ancient monument category. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in the Indian Express article. So if we look into this particular act, currently up to 100 meters are protected and 200 meters it is regulated. What does it mean? Let's say for example we have an historical monument, let's say Taj Mahal in this particular case. So if this is the place where Taj Mahal is located, 100 meters from Taj Mahal the radius is taken. So 100 meters there will be no construction activities whatsoever, and from the radius we have also 200 meters. So this can be regulated. So the first 100 meters you will have no construction whatsoever, whether it is public or the private entities will not be able to construct anything, public entities will not be able to construct anything, but beyond 200 they will be able to regulate. So only with the permission of the suitable authorities they would be able to make few changes. So 100 meters no construction by public or private, and 200 meters they can be regulated, and only when permission is given by the suitable authorities they would be able to bring few suitable changes as well. That is what is called as 100 and 200 meters added to it. Now the government is planning to change this. If it so happens that the government does bring about a change, what are the concerns? The concerns that are pointed is whenever there is construction activity, either it is public or the private, this may cause disturbance to the cultural and environmental heritage. So construction work usually weakens the foundation of all these centuries old edifices, and ultimately there will be a lot of construction material that will be dumped as well. Then dust that occurs because of the construction will also be deposited on this particular place, and there will be domestic waste that will be put into this particular area, and ultimately the significance that is accorded to this particular structure will also go down. And at the same time, all these structures are also places where tourism takes place a lot. If there is a construction activity that happens, and if it is not kept in an intact form, in a precise form, very good form, in that case tourism will also be hit as well. In order to tap the tourism sector, we have to ensure that such changes are not introduced, is what is this article all about. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following pairs. We have the islands on one side, dispute between on the other side. Dokdo Islands, China and South Korea. Falkland Islands, UK and Argentina. Kuril Islands, Japan and Russia. Senkaku Islands, China and Japan. How many pairs given above are correctly matched? The answer to this is 3. Why? That is because when you come to Dokdo Islands, it is not China and South Korea, but instead it is Japan and South Korea. When it comes to Falkland Islands, yes, it is between UK and Argentina. Kuril Islands, Japan and Russia. Senkaku Islands, yes, China and Japan. So the answer to this would be only 3 pairs. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference to the disputed islands between China and Japan. So China and Japan have Senkaku Islands, which is a dispute between them. And when we consider the Kuril Islands, it is a dispute between Japan and Russia. And Kuril Islands dispute is also known as Northern Territories dispute in Japan. So the Kuril Islands are a chain of islands that stretch between Japanese island of Hokkaido at their southern end and Russian's Kamchatka Peninsula at their northern end. So Kuril is a dispute between Japan and Russia. Senkaku is between China and Japan. Falkland Islands, UK and Argentina. But Dokdo is between Japan and South Korea and not China and South Korea. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following are included in the directive principles of state policy? Prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor, prohibition of consumption except for medicinal purposes of intoxicating drinks and of other drugs which are injurious to health. Select the correct answer using the code given below. The answer to this is 2 only. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2008. What is this prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor? This happens to be a fundamental right and not the directive principles of state policy. It is covered under which article is what you have to put on the comment section. When it comes to the directive principles of the state policy, there is a general categorization that is done. One, it is on the basis of socialistic principle. It is on the basis of Gandhian principles. So this prohibition of consumption except for the medicinal purposes, is it the socialistic principle? Is it a Gandhian principle? Is what you have to put on the comment section. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is hue and cry notice. What is this hue and cry notice? It looks like this. So what we have is the Punjab police who have issued what is called as the hue and cry notice, where a person's name would be given, his characteristics would also be defined, his features will be defined, and ultimately a notice would be issued so that in case the public encounters such a person, they see this person, or it is also sent to the police authorities across a particular area. So if it is sent to the police officers and a hue and cry notice is issued, people should be able to tell the same, that this person is present here, this person was identified there. So it is the people who have to tell to the police officers, and the police officers will also have to investigate about this person. So basically, if the police officers are not able to find out where this person is, he is absconded and is hid somewhere, in that case what is issued is called as the hue and cry notice. So hue and cry basically means that you have to shout it out loud. Let's say for example, there is an individual who's committed a crime. This particular person is running away. So if there are individuals who are present in that particular area, they have to shout it out loud that it is this person who has committed the crime. So hue and cry basically means shout out loud. Hue and cry basically means you have to throw your voice up that it is this criminal who's committed this activity, so that other people also come to know about it, and when they come to know about it, they also help the police authorities to ensure that this person is trapped. When you look into the origins of this hue and cry notice, we have to go back to the year 85. The expression hue and cry used these days to describe a clamor of alarm or protest has its root in the Statute of Winchester enacted by King Edward I of England in 1285. The statute, which sought to improve peacekeeping at a local level by revamping the existing police system, demanded that if citizens saw a crime, they not only had to report it but take up a cry to alert the police. For example, when it comes to India, Rule 23 of 18 of Punjab Police Rules, Volume 3 says, whenever it is required to have a search made for an absconding suspect or to issue warnings for precautions to be taken against a particular type of offense or particular individuals, the officer in charge of the police station or the investigating officer shall issue a hue and cry notice. So this is basically the police officers are not able to find out where this person is. He is absconded. So they are seeking the assistance of the people, and they are also asking other police authorities in a different region that if you come across this particular individual, then please tell us is what is this hue and cry notice all about. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.